Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and Bannik, and welcome to episode 10 of the Spike Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Campos, aka 40 Licks, and today's very, very special episode as we announce the permanent co-host of the Spike Nation podcast. Ooh. We also talk about all the spiked issues and a couple of gaming news. Remember, you can find all this and more on the Spike Nation podcast. Good evening, Spiked members, and welcome to a very special episode of the Spike Nation podcast. This is episode 10! Joining me in the Spike Nation studio, none other than the new official co-host of the Spike Nation podcast. Welcome back, Mr. Trenton Ty!
You know, it almost sounded like you were going to say numbnuts there for a minute instead of none other.
Well, you know what, that's the name. But in case people are just listening, Trenton is Purgatory Ironworks. You know him from all the great videos surrounding Spike Nation. Trenton, I wanted to say thank you for being the official co-host of the Spike Nation podcast, and thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. No, like I said, I really enjoyed these things, and again, a big shout out to people like Bannik and the other people that have supported everything. I really enjoy this. There's a different decorum that kind of comes across when you actually hear somebody talking instead of being a keyboard warrior behind a screen, and I've really enjoyed participating in this. So,
well, Trenton, I wish Bannik could be here. Trust me, Bannik's a hard man to get a hold of. And I wish he could have been here. But Bannik, you're listening. You're here in spirit. And Trenton, you know, I wanted to say something. I wanted to say something meaningful. But I just feel like, you know, my words won't be able to express it. It might be better.
Oh, shit.
In song.
What the hell is this crap?
You knew this was coming when I was testing the audio before, right?
Buddy. You know, at least it's not a Rickroll.
It must have been cold there in my shadow. Oh, Ironworks. To never have sunlight on your face. Oh, yes. You were content to let me shine, and that's your way. God. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. Oh yes, a beautiful face without a name.
Dude, let the blood down. Just get on with the show.
A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? Oh yes, and everything I would like to be. Oh man, and I can fly higher than an eagle.
Our 10th episode.
Oh, yes.
All of our listeners are running.
When you are the wind,
open on a video again. That's going to be the legacy of the 10th video right here on the Spike Nation podcast.
Oh man, did you like that? Did you like that, Trent?
Dude,
I spent countless minutes preparing that for you.
Shit.
Oh man, I hope that came out well. I hope when I listened back, I was like, that's the greatest thing I've had planned. My real plan was for Bannik to come in with his awesome Ukrainian accent for the second chorus. But You know what? I think he might have not been here for that exact reason. So, Trent, that is your welcome to the Spike Nation podcast officially.
Oh, God.
I want to let the viewers note that I did not give Trent any preparation for me singing a song to him.
You know, that
was complete surprise.
Like 2 minutes of just uncomfortableness right there.
It's all right, man.
Oh,
it's
God.
like being in the Planned Parenthood waiting room, you know?
Oh,
just
God.
Uncomfortable.
That's awful. That's terrible.
Oh, Trent. So anyway, in Spike Nation news, girls don't like being called bossy cunts, Trent. What do you think about that?
You know, I think it kind of goes riding along. And again, and I've got to throw a caveat in here because, you know, I am not representative of, I guess, mainstream white people. I mean,
you're not? I thought you know, when I look up the dictionary, representative of white people, your face kind of pops up.
Well, that's the crazy thing. I mean, again, where I'm from, I've never lived in a majority white society. I mean, like I said, the majority culture here is black, and I mean, and my culture is influenced by that heavily. I mean, really and truly, if I go up north to like Ohio or whatnot, the white people there kind of creep me out because it's a very different culture. So, but for the most part, it's kind of weird because really and truly, white folks have kind of become the bitch for everybody. I mean, white men have really become kind of nerdy bitches.
They've become me, Trent. Well, let's give a little backstory to the people that are listening and might not have seen the video for the first time. It's basically a while ago, there was a TED Talk where this woman sort of says that calling young girls bossy, you know, something when we were kids, when a young boy asserts himself, it's called, you know, him just becoming a leader. But when a girl does it, they're classified as bossy. And I could see where she's coming from. But do you think, Trent, the word bossy has that much influence on what a woman will become? And I mean, this is coming from a new age where almost all my bosses I've ever had were women, so I don't see that being held back. This might have been true, you know, a couple generations back, but I don't know. I feel like in today's society, women are pretty successful. At least in my household, when my parents grew up, my mom made twice as much income as my father did, and even in the household I live in right now, my girlfriend dwarfs what I make. But what do you think about this, Trent?
I think that I think that this is another one of those things. What was the deal with the guy that was making famous? What was that shit in California where the guy ended up going crazy and whacking off in San Diego? What was
that was the guy from the Coney 2012.
Yeah, Coney. Okay. All right. So
I don't know his name, but I could look it up real quick.
Captain whacking it in San Diego.
Jason Russell, it looks like.
Okay. All right. So again, what it is that these people have to find something to focus on, because if you're going to raise money, you've got to have a rallying cry, and it's got to be specific. This Coney guy had absolutely, and this was something they found out afterwards, is that, nobody had ever heard of this guy. There was nothing on him. And then suddenly there's this huge marketing campaign, and the only internet search goes right to the fundraising site. And unfortunately, I think that's what this is. Even if you have a good purpose, even if you have a good cause, you have to have a gimmick. It's the nature of things.
And to be honest, getting the most successful women in our society to promote that women aren't successful, or at least they're being trumped at being successful, is kind of a weird message. I mean, obviously, Beyonce, who is one of the obviously, Beyonce is doing a little good for herself, and I don't think I'm ever going to dwarf her income in the next 5 of my lifetime.
But, here's the deal, though. But she is not the instigator of her wealth. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me not take away from the lady's talent, okay? But there was some wealthy dude in the company that pointed to her and said, you need a contract, and she caught on. Okay, and this is what I don't think anybody realizes, that the rules have not changed. People that can will. This absolute
cream always rises to the top, my friend.
And let me tell you, it's been that way forever and a day.
And corporations don't have gentrification, all right? If you make money and you're successful, I don't see corporations are beyond. They're not Mad Men anymore, all right? Where the women just take the coffee out. You have successful ideas and you can get a proven track record. There's no way you won't be CEO of a company.
And that's right. And they talk about the glass ceiling. And yeah, and look here, within any gang, within any clique of people that are successful, they have things they like and they have things they don't like. And if you are somebody under them and you have things they like, they will promote you. So yeah, there's this de facto, I guess, homogeny when it comes to that end of things. But I just, everybody has a cause these days, and everybody's asking for money because of that cause. And and again, there are some times when these things are needed. There are some times where there's a real significant problem. This isn't one of them. We have men are more aggressive by our nature. I mean, and this is the other thing. I was raised on a steady diet of equality. I came up during the 80s, and that was the thing. Everybody is equal. Everybody is the same. And I will tell you this. Now, this is kind of looking into the personal side of things. My biggest problems when I dated when I was young is because I had it in my mind that men and women were no different. And that is complete bullshit. Okay? Now, again,
at least physically.
Well, exactly. And no, men
we're just denying evolution at this point. I mean, listen, I'm totally for, hearing a person's opinion and getting to know them on a personal standpoint. But there's just, I've seen these TMZ stories where a transgender woman wants to compete with women. Well, I'm like, I'm sorry, you were born a man, therefore you have the muscular anatomy of a man, and just by evolution alone, men are stronger than women. Maybe not emotionally stronger, you might point out, but at least physically, I think we can pretty much admit that. I mean, there are a couple women that I know could whip my ass, but if we're doing purely statistics, I mean, come on, Trent.
Well, no, and that's the thing. To be able, and this is the lunacy of it. In the Olympics, they have men's competition and they have women's competition. Why? Because they are so substantially different in their physique that it is unfair to put women in with men. It is absolutely unfair. Why are the world's strongest people always men? Because we're built that way. Okay? Now, on a mental end of it, there are a lot of women that are terribly, terribly smart and are able to compete in that end of it. And guess what? Because there's not a women's division for business. Okay? There is simply business. There is simply making money. And if you make money, you get to be the boss. And you see these women rising to the top of these super powerful corporations, certainly not in the proportion to men, but again, these women are able to compete, and I've known a lot of successful women, and guess what? They are cutthroat bitches, and they are everything that they need to be the boss.
Wait, are you telling me that women are cutthroat? No.
I'm saying that women have had an advantage in the political game for a very long time. And even through the entire history, if there's been a person that nobody could beat, that nobody could get close to kill him, they couldn't send an assassin to kill him, then what you do is you send a woman to kill him. And guess what? Oh. And bam.
Oh, man, that's Trenton. When I want to kill you, I'm slinging a Latina mistress your way,
Look,
I know how you like
favor. Don't send just one.
It's gonna be like banditos. I'm gonna send Penelope Cruz and Selma Hayek.
Give me a bandolier of senoritas.
That's gonna be the title of our next podcast, the bandolier of senoritas. Well, Trent,
and I hate to do it.
We burned through that issue pretty quick. I don't know what else.
I mean, it's just there's nothing to say. I mean, again, it's a gimmick for fundraising.
And and it's something in 20 years. I mean, if you look at I don't have them here in front of me, but if you look at the statistics as far as women's wages go and how much they've risen in the last 20 years and how much they're almost on par with what men make, I could see that becoming a little even. And their argument is that there's less women CEOs. Well, a CEO stays with a company a fairly long time, if it's a successful one. So you're talking about a man that's been with a company for X amount of years before this whole gentrification of companies and having more females. So I think within the next 15, 20 years, you will see a really big spike in women CEOs and
I can't, I would not even go that far, and let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Because there may be certain traits that men have that suit them better to that end than women. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that in the next 20 years, you're going to see a pattern that simply makes money. All right. If I am an investor, I do not give a rat's ass if my CEO is a man, a woman, a transgender. The only thing I care about is that bastard making me money. Okay.
Cha-ching.
All right, I mean,
that's all it's about.
That's all it's about. And the thing is that if it happens that more women become CEOs because they're making more money, there's no bias in there because of their sex. The bias is that do they make me some damn money?
And they should. Well, Trent, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If you had to fight off a shark, what weapon of choice would you use?
What a little bitch. That was a little bitty shark.
What? Listen,
you know,
I'm not going to
shark
defend.
Attack. I'm like, I mean, if this little guy's in the water going like it was fucking Jaws.
I get it. To viewers that haven't seen, there's a video on Spike. It's called GoPro Diver Fights Off Shark, and it's basically a guy. He doesn't get viciously attacked, but you can tell a shark's very interested in his nutsack, and he tries to fend it away with like a spear, a fishing spear, which is about like a 3-prong. Sort of, but I can imagine if Trenton is going deep sea diving, he's wearing his full blacksmith outfit. He doesn't take that off when he goes deep sea diving, and I can't imagine you using a measly, basically a wire hanger spear to hunt. You'd be using what, like a board tusk spear, like you have on the airboat.
I just look at him and the shark would run away.
Would you make like a nice? Sorry, guys. So it seemed I didn't even notice that we were talking over 15 minutes, and if it might have cut out, it might not have. I have no clue. But we're talking about sharks, and we're talking about what Trenton would do to defend himself from a shark.
Well, like I say, and I was about to go full nerd because you had said something about shark skin. Actually, shark skin.
Shark skin.
That's it has been used for the handles of swords and knives, along with ray skin, for a very long time.
Right? It's like a skateboard.
Yeah, well, it's really tough stuff. And no, I've actually got a Civil War era blade that the handle is made out of shark skin because it's really tough stuff.
Picture of that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's an 1850s cavalry saber is what it is. But I was laughing at this guy because I mean obviously that shark was wanting to chew on his ass, but I mean this guy was freaking the hell out. I mean he's underwater. I mean you think Jaws?
If you had to translate it, it's probably oh fuck, there's a shark.
Now, in contrast to the guy that was on the bike and the bear comes running down the hill, that is a shit yourself moment. But for a 3-foot shark, that is.
I remember seeing a video. I don't know if it was on Spiked or one of these like World's Wildest of a guy. They're traveling. It might have been an airboat, but they're traveling down like a river in some sort of boat. Then literally out of fucking nowhere, this mom grizzly comes out of the woods, and the guy has a gun in his hand, but he doesn't even get it. Like, he just fires a shot, into the air. And if he didn't fire that shot, they would be dead. I'll link it in the description, but I've never seen more scary. A bear is probably the scariest thing on this planet.
Well, and the thing is, unless you've actually been in person to see how big those bastards are, I mean, look here. Looking at them on camera really doesn't do those things justice. Yeah, I used to work at
Bear Mountain State Park in New York, and I guess you might not get it by the name, but there are bears at Bear Mountain State Park.
Well, but especially the grizzlies and God forbid the Kodiaks. I mean, my God. I mean, literally. I mean, these things are so strong they can literally knock the head off of a horse. I mean, it's freaking creepy. But
how many bears have you killed with your bare hands?
We don't have bears down here, and I've done a.
Well, quick!
Yeah.
You need to get an Asian man to import them bears down to Georgia.
I don't know. Maybe I could.
Trenton could take them down with his bare hands.
Glue some fur on a fat chick or something.
You have the best epic suit ever. It's just bear skin and bear teeth as a helmet. Oh my God! It's like the helmet from Golden. Oh yeah, you need to make me the helmet from the Golden Compass. It's basically just a polar bear skull.
The creepiest. I think the creepiest bear stuff I've ever seen was actually from the 13th Warrior. From I believe it was the Picts that were the bad guys that were the bear people.
I don't even think I've seen that. That's a movie?
Oh, dude, that was one of Antonio Banderas' first flicks.
Really?
Yeah.
And I don't even think I've ever heard of it.
Yeah,
Sounds like
13th Warrior. Pretty.
It looks like, I'm looking at the picture right now. I think I've probably seen it. It looks like Latino Excalibur or something like that.
Kind of something like that. But the bad guys are like the
Jurassic Park and the director of Die Hard. That's basically what it says.
It was good stuff. But they were kind of creepy. They were these Picts that kind of worship this bear stuff, and they had some pretty creepy outfits.
Yeah, I'm looking at the guy right now. He has an awesome bear outfit. Shit, you know what, Trent? Make that instead. That's what I want. You have to pay your dues to become the co-host of the Spike Nation podcast. You're making me a bearskin outfit is one of it. Speaking of sort of warrior outfits, you play. I know you game. Did you check out this Dark Souls 2 yet? Are you familiar with Dark Souls?
I guess I've become kind of a PC elitist. I mean, ever since I think the last things like that I really played was Dark Souls is like a PvP, right? I mean, it's like a 2-player fighting game, isn't it?
No, Dark Souls is sort of a you would love it just because of the art element. It has a ton of great weapon and armor designs. That's why I think you would like it, but it's sort of a callback to these old games where it was more challenging. You know, I feel like new games and at least new gamers in general, and you could probably attest to this being such an old school gamer, the new games are kind of easy, you know, they're very linear. Even the games that are open world, they're still very linear, and there's no challenge in it. You might die a couple times during a cutscene or whatever, but you basically can barrel through in a game, without any sort of impervious wall or anything. But Dark Souls is basically the old retro style where you really have to pay attention to the patterns of the enemies and the bosses, and it's basically every enemy can kill you. So even the first couple guys that you run into, if you don't approach the right way, you die. And not only do you die, but you get sent back, basically, not the beginning of a game, it's not a roguelike, you can unlock checkpoints and whatever, but it's basically you lose everything. You lose every XP you get by killing a man. If you die and you don't go to the same spot you died, you basically lose everything. So you can beat a boss, get all that XP, and if you don't make it back to the home world to level up, you just lost, 3 hours of, work. It's basically like in Rust, where imagine doing something very constructive for hours upon hours, only to get ganked by somebody and lose everything. It's more of a PvE, player versus environment, but there are PvP aspects. It has a very non-traditional multiplayer where at any time an enemy can invade your game and basically kill you and take your souls and earn souls by killing you. And they can help you out, but there's no friend or party system. You couldn't invite a friend to the game. You could only invite random people. But Dark Souls 2 just came out, and I played a little bit. It's fantastic. But I guess if you never played Dark Souls, it's hard to explain it. I really suggest you check out some of the artwork, just from the style alone. I really think it's something you would enjoy.
When Mario Kart went out, I basically abandoned consoles, and that's, and I guess that
my dad still plays Mario Kart.
Mario. Look here. I cannot tell you the hours that I wasted between GoldenEye and Mario Kart. I mean,
my dad got the Wii. I don't know when that thing came out, 2006, 2005, I don't remember. But when they re-released Mario Kart for the Wii, he was really interested because he remembered playing it, for the N64. And I'm not kidding you, to this day, my dad plays that shit online. As far as the rankings go, you can only get to a 9999. This is his highest ranking. He's a 99999 player. And they just announced that I think in 2 months they're shutting down the Nintendo Wii servers, and when he found out, he was fucking devastated.
Well, I mean, and I guess I've been through all the games. And I guess a lot of us even here on Spike. I mean, we are PC people. I mean, which first of all puts us in a very different category.
Elitist.
Yeah, no, we are.
You're like the Illuminati.
We are, and we tend to like a very different type of game. It's just like with EA. Now, we can sit here and bitch about Battlefield and everything else. But, we really don't have the biggest say because we don't pay the most money. EA makes their games off of your average household that has a console that likes basketball and football games. That's their cash cow. And, again, that's the end of it. So the PC game is really starting to become a misnomer because PC games are what Yahtzee, Ben Crenshaw, calls dead games. I mean, things like RTSs that require a better interface. And of course, this was the funniest thing.
The last good RTS I played was a game, computer only, called World of Conflict. Did you play that one?
I saw that.
It was a fantastic game, and there's no way you would be able to recreate that game in a console form. But I did play Halo Wars, and that was, as far as RTSs go, that was one of my favorite in the last couple of years.
Well, the interface is just so much better. I mean, I remember, God, I can't.
Oh, and I just want to put this in there that you'll like this, that EA is now up for Worst Company in America 2014.
Oh my
and
God!
And if they win, because I know with your vote, Trent, they will win that. It'd be the third year in a row they're voted Worst Company in America.
It is awful. I mean, I hate that because EA gave us man. Yeah. Back in the day when that EA symbol came up, that was Command and Conquer. Dun 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 dun. I mean, and that meant that your whole fucking night was going to be awesome as shit. There was going to be flying zeppelins dropping bombs. Yuri was going to drop out in mind control of somebody. Tanya was going to blow the shit out of some buildings with some C4. That was your night, and that was from EA.
It's weird. I have mixed feelings about PC gamers. Not PC gamers, or just PC gaming in general. I found that there's a big renaissance of it now, at least from the indie corner. But I remember what made me a true console gamer, because that's what I really am. I really am a true console gamer. What made me a true console gamer was how good the PC games were compared to the console games. I remember this was probably the PS2 era, GameCube. This was pre-Xbox even coming out. And I remember the quality of games on PC just dwarfed the console games. So, everyone loved their Grand Theft Auto, but I was too busy playing, StarCraft and, Diablo and these console games. And I remember not console games, computer games. I remember what made me transition was I played a lot of Counter-Strike as a kid. That was basically one of my, 10, 13 years old kind of game. You know how you are at 13, you're just rabid. And, I remember never getting that experience of being online on a console, and Counter-Strike had something so different than any console game, and it was you can communicate over the internet with your buddies and talk while you played and everything. And I remember when Xbox Live came out, that's really what did it for me. I had never experienced that online gaming on a console before, and I remember playing Mech Assault for the first time and just hearing people, interact, and I remember going, look, this is it. This is PC games and now console games are pretty much in the next couple of years are just going to be the same thing. And I feel like that's what we're doing with this PS4, Xbox One. That's why I always felt spurned by my computer, because I'd always buy a brand new computer, and this was before I knew about specs, and I'd put in that Battlefield 1942 disc, and the fucking shit would never run. And even to this day, I have a pretty decent computer that I built by myself, and it can't run any of the new games on full or even medium. So that's why I just got the Xbox. I'm sick and tired of playing this fucking PC struggle where every 2 years I have to upgrade my video card and it might not work.
Well, that was always the crazy thing, though, because it wasn't industrial software that was been pushing PC evolution. It's been the games, and that's pretty huge. But hey, before I forget, last week's episode we put out, I'd actually talked about Pool of Radiance, and
I saw that Nakey, one of our users that always I want to say thank you, Nakey, always comment on the podcast. We want to thank you for listening. We love all our fans.
Well, no,
go ahead.
That is just awesome. Look here, I haven't seen that decoder wheel in so many years.
That was within like 20 minutes of posting it, too. You know, that guy was on top of it.
Well, but no.
You got some fans out there, Trent.
But, Jordan, no, here's the thing, man. You don't understand how important, how important these things were to us. I mean, this is the essence of where we started. I mean, this is our classical renaissance. I mean, my God. Wasteland, look here, Wasteland 2, when I heard that came out, I mean, it's like you don't have to tell me anything beyond that. Where do I need to put my money? Because these things are like terribly, terribly important to our childhoods. I mean, they're like having He-Man. It's like having He-Man in Battlefield. This is what you grew up with. So, but hey, Nakey, I want to make you.
I'm so embarrassed by the fact that I used to watch so much He-Man as a kid, and I realized that is the gayest show ever. Like, I was just staring at a dude's nipples all day.
Dude, like I said, it's crazy. But hey, Nakey, listen, I got to offer it. If you've got like the box and whatnot, and you'd be willing to part with that set, I will swap you out. I will make something in the shop and trade you for that. I'd love to have that set.
Little swap shop action.
Man, I would love to have that. I mean, I was sitting there going,
listen, I'll make it happen if you rub whatever you're giving them all over your body.
Oh my God, I need that mounted in a case is what I need. I need that on my wall, the pool of set.
Well, Trenton, speaking of game add-ons, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're talking about Sony and basically all the next-gen consoles coming out with their Oculus Rift rip-offs. So, Trenton, hold your horses, and we'll be right back with the Spike Nation podcast. All right, guys, we're back with the Spike Nation podcast. We're here with Trenton from Purgatory Ironworks, and we're going to talk VR headsets. Now, Trenton, this all seemed to have started with the Oculus Rift, and I know we've touched about it before, but it seems like all these companies, Sony just announced their new Project Morpheus. And I remember back before the new consoles even released that Microsoft plans a sort of smart goggles or smart glass. So it seems like they're heading in the direction. What do you think about these VR headsets? Have you tried it yet, or what do you think about it?
A buddy of mine actually got a dev kit for the Oculus Rift, and it is, in my opinion, has not changed since the VR Boy came out for the Nintendo.
I remember seeing... Oh, you mean the Virtual Boy?
Yeah.
Oh, I had that. It was a piece of shit.
Well,
I also had something called like Redcom or R-Zone for Tiger made it, and it was a piece of shit too. It was horrible.
Now, obviously, the technology has progressed. I mean, if you haven't seen footage from the Oculus Rift, it is really beautiful. But basically, from a function standpoint, all it is a mouse that's been glued to your eyeballs because it allows you to look around just like your mouse does. I mean, it really... And again, and let me not be such a naysayer because I really enjoy pushing these boundaries. But
and listen, we here at Spike Nation Podcast don't want to see innovations go, and not be successful. We want the future gaming to be spawned.
I mean, of course, what we want to be able to do is step into a room that completely becomes... I want to play a complete virtual reality game where I step into a room and I'm looking around and I get to run. I mean, that's what we want. That's where we want to be. You know?
Have you ever seen, not that I've seen it with the Oculus Rift, but have you ever seen that, like, treadmill that's basically just like a giant hamster wheel for humans, where it's basically a flat mat on the floor that's, I guess, put on a sphere, so when you walk in place, and you can walk in any direction. So it would track your movements that way and translate that to the game. So that's I guess, the best, because we want to be able to move our feet and move around in a virtual world,
Right. And that, I mean, really and truly, I mean, and the thing is I think before we ever get there, we're going to be able to basically plug ourselves into the game, But again, I mean, I love the concept. I love the idea. But at this point, it's a fucking gimmick. It's like
it doesn't look fun. I've never seen footage that made me go. The most footage I've seen that I liked was more of like an interactive movie than in a gaming sense. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm basically a married man because I've been with my girlfriend for almost 9 years, but I would use it for fucking porn. I mean, let's just be completely honest. I mean, you're looking at your avatar, you're looking at your porn, you can look all around and up and down. I mean, that's where porn has to adopt it first if you really want to be successful.
And, like look here, and going back to the original argument, we want virtual reality, not just be able to virtually look at it.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point? But I remember seeing this like Japanese one where they took the Oculus and they had like this, basically a fleshlight working this dude, and when he was looking through the thing, it was like an avatar going up and down. I was like, man.
My God,
this guy,
it's officially time to change the number one spot from what the fuck is wrong with German people to what the fuck is wrong with Japanese people.
Oh, no, what the fuck was wrong with us for not getting this on the market right away?
Oh, my God.
Henry Ford, man, if he was still alive, he'd be on that shit right now.
God, I remember
the industrial lights of America needs to hop on that.
Do you remember the advertisement on Spike for the fleshlight?
Yeah, the alien
that
fleshlight.
Was the scariest looking fucking chick. Look here, I like that. That was nothing like what it needed to be. I'm like, no, I do not want to buy this product because that thing looks like it bites.
I know it was weird too because I'd always try to plug Spike to like all my intellectual friends, and they would go on it and be like, "Dude, there's a fleshlight right on it." But I don't know if you ever knew this about me, Trent, or the Spike Nation audience, but I posted a video back in the day. I used to work at a porn store, a porn shop, and for some reason, the alien fleshlights sell a lot. And I have no clue why. We would have molds of famous porn stars, and they would not sell, but guys would love to come in and fuck an alien fleshlight. I don't understand why. Maybe they don't want the human element of it. Maybe it's better to not think you're holding a woman's vagina, but instead something that doesn't resemble a human vagina. I don't know. I don't know what the disconnect is.
Let me tell you, I'm still trying to wrap my head around. All right, so several.
I know I dropped the bombshell on you.
Well, no, 3 or 4 years
ago.
There
was no jack-off boots.
No, there's no jack-off boots. But 3 or 4 years ago, I went out to San Francisco, and because I did I went to San Francisco to work with Jill Turman, who is a smoking hot lady blacksmith in San Francisco on the little island there on the north called Alameda.
Mrs. Ironworks?
Yeah, and
future Mrs. Ironworks?
Do what?
The future Mrs. Ironworks?
Oh, God, I wish. She's a little older than I am, but yeah, Jill Turman, she's awesome lady. But we were out there, and of course, living next to where we were staying are 2 super gay guys, and of course, they were terrified that I was going to like hook them to a truck and drag them through the streets. But anyway,
this guy has a southern accent. He's going to kill us.
No, look here. No, they were legitimately frightened. I mean, it was crazy. So anyway, this goes down.
I'm looking at Jill Turman right now.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
She's pretty badass, man.
She's a little bitty thing. You would not think she was a blacksmith. So
yeah, she makes some like spider web sort of work. I'm saying it's very artsy.
Oh yeah, no, she's a professional art.
She knows how to handle those metal rods.
Oh God, and yeah, she is awesome. She is just awesome. So, but no, what had happened is that the gay guys, after they got to know me, they decided they wanted to take me on the big gay tour of San Francisco. And to be honest, I was real curious. I mean, I was in the gay epicenter of the world. I'm like, well, shit, I'm all about my culture. The culture here happens to like penises, but show me what you got. So
sure, man. You listen. You gotta be open in this world, man. There's no more people who enjoy life more than gay guys. All right, they fuck whenever they want. They do whatever they want. I'm almost envious of it. Like, I would want to live George Takei's life.
Well, here's a neat thing about, and this is something that I'm actually very proud of about being a member of Spike Nation, because whereas we are probably the quickest ones to say faggot or that's gay or be horribly racist, for the most part, we are the ones that are the most open to new things that there are. And it's this weird dichotomy, because we will point and say faggot in a heartbeat, but if somebody actually is cruel about it or in some way bad derogatory, those people usually...
We don't take kindly to you around here.
No shit. We drum those fuckers out and say, we don't care to have that shit here. We're all about free speech.
It's a more narrow way, because Spike... I've learned over the years, and it's actually, I've said this in my first podcast, Spike Nation has made me a way more open person. I was a little angry kid back in the day, and Spike Nation opened my eyes to a lot of things. But yeah, we don't take that shit around here. If you're going to at least pose an argument towards somebody, don't demean them by their sexuality. Pose a good argument and get them back that way. That's something great about Spike, is most people won't go for the quick insult. They'll tear you apart
Well, and that's
other
the other,
ways.
and look here, not to overinflate ourselves, but we're a lot.
Oh, you can.
We're
you
a
can.
lot
We're already
like
inflated
science.
pretty high.
Well, the thing is we're self-correcting. I mean, look here. Bannik, who makes, and again, I disagree with Bannik a lot on a lot of different issues, but the fact is that a lot of these people that are what I would quote are the real debaters on Spike are very careful in the construction of their arguments, and if they make a point and they have facts to back it up, they point out.
I like Exploder. He always points it good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And again, there's a tremendous amount that I've disagreed with Exploder, but let me tell you what.
But
these guys
are not the
arguments
guy
are
for
impeccable.
posing a good argument.
That's right. Their construction of their argument is wonderful. For example, the only other person I can really compare that to is Matt Dillahunty, who does the Atheist Experience. I mean, whether you agree with him or not.
Is that radio show?
No, they do the cable, the open cable access show.
Is that the one where a video was posted not that long ago where a person calls them up and basically says they're being condemned to hell, and he was like, well, do you believe in God's plan for everybody? And she was like, yes. Well, then God's sending me to hell without my choice.
Yeah, no. And let me tell you, there's hundreds of clips. And I mean, again, this guy, you better come to the table with your shit straight because you're about to get laid out. And again.
And he was never mean or harsh. I think I saw exactly what you're talking about. He puts him down intellectually, not, by, yelling or screaming or just telling. I remember I was on a message board the other day and, these atheists were trying to have a constructive conversation with, someone that was of religious, and they just kept on saying, you're going to burn, you're going to burn. To every comment, they were saying, you're going to burn, you're going to burn, you're going to burn. It's very, juvenile.
Yeah, and again, for the Spike Nation user, we don't accept that. We don't accept because I say so. Yeah, we don't accept that. And again, and that's what's so incredible because even though Exploder and Bannik and people like them have very, very strong opinions, I don't think that there is any opinion that they hold that cannot be changed with new information. And that is an incredible damn thing. And again, my hat's off to those guys because, when you go to the table, there's this, here's these very strong opinions, here's the evidence for it. Do you have a strong argument or do you not? And if somebody, again, there's a situation of A, some people say, I don't know, and that's the start, and B, I could be wrong. And everybody goes to the table with that premise. And man, it makes me really proud to be around folks that are that open-minded and are still as human as they need to be. They're not robots. They're very passionate, but they are.
Well, some of them are spam bots, but
this is true.
Well, Trenton, those are words of wisdom. And speaking of new information, you got any new information coming from the Purgatory Ironworks shop?
All right, so here's
anything we can look
forward
to?
I've actually got to do the airboat video today. You guys get to actually see the airboat. You're going to like it. It's going to be pretty cool. But
we're not going to like it, Trent. We're going to fucking love it.
Awesome. You're going to fucking love the airboat. But the other thing that's going to be pretty cool is that I am actually going to go up to Atlanta for the next couple of weeks because I have been invited to
find some slaves.
Right? Yeah. I'm actually going to be on a pirate ship. The Georgia Renaissance Festival is starting up, and I have been invited to come play the Blacksmith Pirate. And so if you're in the Atlanta area and you know where the Renaissance Festival is, you come by. We'll be up there. But it's so incredible because the pirate ships traditionally are just as debauched as you would imagine. I was laughing.
Trent,
go ahead.
Let's hear a little Trent pirate.
Oh,
come on, work with me. Come on, Trent. Let's hear your best pirate imitation.
There was the one year I was up there at the Renaissance Festival, and this lady was in a pirate costume, and somebody gave me one of those little pirate flags, and I just kind of walked up beside her, and I kind of raised the flag, and I looked at her, and I said, prepare to be boarded. She was pretty hot too.
Oh man, was it Jill whatever, the blacksmith queen?
Jill's actually very straight laced. I think I was a little much for Jill. Jill's Jill's very straight.
Man.
Yeah, I like I said, if it hadn't have been, San Francisco would have been rocking. I promise you.
So Renaissance Fair in Atlanta, Georgia. That sounds a very unique place to have a Renaissance fair, you know?
You know, there's a running joke because most Renaissance festivals are really up on you being in character. So that if I go to a really proper Renaissance festival, when I'm discussing blacksmithing, I have to talk about history and all that type of rot, you know.
You see, I have a couple of pictures that maybe I'll post of me and my friends that went to a Renaissance fair up in Sterling Forest in New York, and I don't drink a lot. I've never truly been drunk, but that was probably the most plastered I've ever been going to that Red fair.
Oh,
and we were just going around going huzzah to the tipper, huzzah, and just I was in character the entire time, even though I was wearing like normal outfits.
It is like the apex where nerddom and whiteness meet. It is like the ivory tower of PC Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, you can go no higher than the Renaissance Festival, and you're as likely to see a damn Klingon walking around as you are a knight. Because remember that's
part of the fun.
Well, remember Dragon Con is in Atlanta, and so these people that are these huge Dragon Con are the same people that go to the Renaissance Festival. I mean, I know them all. I mean, one year the cast of Firefly came down. I mean, it's Nathan.
It's great.
It's
perfect.
Anyway, so we'll be at the
we got 30
Festival.
seconds.
I'm probably going to be drunk, selling very sharp knives. But I'm gonna have some video for you guys. But outside of that, that's what's going on.
Well, Trenton, thank you so much, and thank you for being my co-host of the Spike Nation podcast. Listeners, you can look forward to this every week, or at least as much as we can get to. Thanks for listening. Trenton, thanks for coming on. Do you have any last words for just say goodbye to them, because we got 7 seconds.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Spike Nation. And I want to thank Spike Legend.
Hey, guys, thank you so much for listening to episode 10 of the Spike Nation podcast. I want to give a big thanks to my co-host Trenton Ty from Purgatory Ironworks. Remember, you can find all the news and updates as well as DVDs at purgatoryironworks.com, or you can look at all the videos here at Spike Nation. Also wanted to give a big thanks to Spike member Spike Legend for submitting what is now the Spike Nation theme song. I know a lot of you have been sending me music to play at the end of the podcast, and I appreciate every submission, so please don't stop submitting them at 40licks108@hotmail.com. I don't want the podcast to run too long, so on a shorter podcast, I will play some of your submissions. But thanks to everybody that has submitted it. Thanks for listening, and remember, guys, if it ain't spiked, don't drink it. Fuck you, Napalm.